What's up everyone? Thank you for joining me for this video on the Gibson SG. I really want to discuss some of the things I love about these guitars. Before I go any further though, I would love it if you would take just a minute to subscribe to my channel. Click the bell icon so you can be notified of new videos when they come out. I'm really working to grow my channel and hopefully creating some content that's of interest to you guys, and I'd love to get into some dialogue about these things, so hopefully this is an interactive thing. And you guys will join me in discussing a lot of these cool topics, or at least things that seem interesting to me. I feel like most guitar players are sort of the same, and we like the same things, so hopefully you'll find something you enjoy in my videos. So let's get into a discussion about what is so great about the Gibson SG. All right, so let's start with a quick history of this design. The SG as we know it today didn't actually start out as the SG. In 1961, Gibson unveiled this design, and at that time it was the Gibson Les Paul. This would have been the standard version, and then there was the custom version, which would have had 3 pickups. We know now that Les never really cared for this design. And in 1963, he and Gibson parted ways, and Gibson moved forward, dropping the Les Paul moniker from the model and calling it just the SG, which stands for a solid guitar. It's not really surprising, I don't think, about Les not really embracing the design. When you think about his playing style and the era he came from, this is a pretty radical design, so it makes sense that he may not have bonded with it. Nevertheless, there have been many incarnations of the SG over the decades, and I think that has a lot to do with the fact that this guitar has never been out of production. Gibson has never stopped making it. It's always been in the catalog, and that's pretty cool. There's a whole lot of reasons that I gravitate toward the SG, but some of the big ones would be the weight. As a gigging musician, a lightweight guitar is a lifesaver when you're playing 3-hour sets. So having a guitar that does everything you need it to do and is comfortable is great. It's very thin, the bevels are comfortable, it's just an easy guitar to play. And speaking of ease of playability, I mean, come on, what guitar do you know that has this kind of fret access? You can get everywhere you need to get. Lots of guitars have low action, but for whatever reason I always feel like the SGs that I play have very low action, which is great. Again, just comfortable to play. The custom buckers in this one particularly sound great, but I find that SGs always kind of have this little bit of extra chime and brightness, this openness, this uncompressed kind of thing that I don't always find in other Gibson models. And for me personally, the Maestro Vibrola is absolutely awesome. Some people will complain they don't stay in tune well. I don't have that issue. If the nut is cut properly and the guitar is set up right, it will stay in tune. Mine does fantastically. Again, if you use it the way it's designed, it was not designed as a Floyd Rose. It's designed for, you know, just a little bit of flutter, a little bit of wobble in your chords and whatnot, just to give it a nice little bit of an effect. That's how I use it. But even when I get a little more aggressive with the arm, I don't find it having any tuning instability at all. So I think more people make an issue out of that than it really is. And one other thing I'll say on that is that the little bit of extra weight from the tailpiece counterbalances some of the propensity of the SG to want to have some neck dive. Alright, so to touch on some of my favorite SG players, recently I've been diving really into the Cream era Clapton stuff, where he was using the Fool SG, late 60s era, and you can find a lot of live recordings on YouTube where he was playing that guitar, and I mean, some of those tones are just fantastic, so very good. I'm a huge Southern rock blues jam band fan, And the SG can be found throughout those genres all over the place. Very popular model with a lot of those guys. In the early days, guys like Jerry Garcia, Carlos Santana used the SG often. Modern guys like Warren Haynes, Dickie Betts, Dwayne Allman, Derek Trucks. Been really getting into Dwayne Betts lately. In the old days, one person who was very famous for using an SG Custom was Sister Rosetta Tharpe. And then, of course, you have the guys that are just absolutely associated with the SG. Guys like Angus Young, Tony Iommi, Robbie Krieger. Frank Zappa was using the SG a lot at a certain time. Pete Townsend and the Live at Leeds era especially. Those guys are really notable SG players, and all got some really outstanding tones and recorded some very, very famous music with the SG. Alright, so we all have the guitar we gravitate towards, right, in our collection. You guys know what that guitar is for you. For me, it is the Gibson SG, this one in particular. I just find that it feels like home to me every time I pick it up. And it doesn't mean I don't get enamored with other guitars. I've got some other nice stuff, some Strats. I've got an old Jazzmaster I love to break out and play from time to time. Les Paul's 335s. There's a lot of other great guitars out there, but there's always that one that just, it feels right to us, and that is the SG for me. So for you guys who are SG fans, I'd love to hear your SG story. Tell me about your guitar in particular. What is it you love about it? For you guys who've watched all the way to the end of this video and you don't like SGs or you've never gotten along with them, I'm curious why. What is it about the guitar that you don't care for? Let's get into some respectful conversation in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you have to say about the Gibson SG.